Yo, what's good everybody? Just a video on Oleksandr Usyk's dismantling of Daniel Dubois. Guys, what can I say? Yet another masterclass from Oleksandr the Great, the man who in my opinion is most definitely the greatest of this era. Yes, greater than Canelo, greater than Terence Crawford, and greater than Naoya Inoue. This man has been fighting the top dogs in his weight classes back to back to back. He did that in cruiserweight, and after he got acclimated to the division, he did that as a heavyweight as well. Nothing but champions or the number one or number two contenders. And as a heavyweight, he beat the top guys twice, right? Just simply incredible. But getting into the fight, a shorter fight than I thought it would be. Truthfully, I had Usyk winning the fight this whole time, right? But I always thought if this fight was to end this early, it would be because Dubois landed a peach of a punch and sparked Usyk out. I didn't think Usyk would be the one to completely pick Dubois apart and beat him down inside 5 rounds. That is just crazy. But I mean, the amount of damage Dubois was sustaining from the very first round was already significant. Right, Usyk's power jabs landed over and over, and each time it did, he snapped Dubois' chin and popped Dubois' head. That jab from Usyk is just masterful. In my breakdown video, I touched on Usyk's lead hand and how Dubois wouldn't have an answer for it. Right, I said because of Usyk's probes and feints, Dubois wouldn't be able to tell a probe from a feint, from a jab, or from a hook, and that's exactly what happened again. Usyk's lean hand was just mesmerizing. His punch selection and variation is just incredible. You just don't know what he's going to do next. You know, he shoots high and low as well. There is literally no tell in his lead hand game. None at all. He changes it up every time. So many different jab variations. He shoots on the inside in between Dubois' guard. Then he would change his level and shoot from down up. Then he would shoot around Dubois' guard. Then he would touch the body. And everything is different in terms of how hard he throws it and how fast, right? Then he'd also throw in a hook in there, you know, all the while bouncing and feinting and circling out and changing gears and paces. Seriously, I can talk about this all night. It was just simply amazing to watch. I just feel like there's so much to say, right? But of course, we can't forget his lead hand, you know, his power hand. That straight left is a thing of beauty. It's snappy, it's accurate, and it's damaging. And he's so fluid at changing targets, whether it be the head or the body. The counters were incredible. He was so sharp, so quick, so precise with his counters. The combination punching, right? Every time he was in the corner and felt that he needed to push the ball back to get him off of him, he had no problems at all letting his hands go. He won every exchange in this fight, every single one of them. He is fearless, man. Every time it was time to stand his ground and trade, he did it. You know, he knew he had to. It kind of goes back to what Shakur was saying about Zepeda last week. Right, some fighters you can't just run from, right? You can't just box. They'll eventually get to you. Sometimes you have to fight them and push them back, and that's exactly what Usyk did in this fight. His IQ is just on a whole nother level. You know, despite his success in the first 3 rounds, they were still relatively slower rounds, and you could see Usyk was computing Dubois' every single move, and he was picking up on everything Dubois was trying to do, and he immediately came up with solutions for everything. If not on the spot, definitely by the next round. He is a machine in the ring, a computer with a very high processor, man. He is just a fucking genius. But let me not neglect his defense, because though it wasn't perfect, like he wasn't untouchable in there, he still saw everything Dubois was throwing, and he slipped or blocked most of it, or just circled out. You know, he used his footwork a lot of the times in this fight, and for those shots that did get through, he ate them up no problem at all. Usyk's chin is definitely one of the best in boxing, and I don't really know, man. I just feel like there's so much to say about how great Usyk really is in boxing. like my brain is pounding from all the thoughts running in my head, right? But I don't really want this to turn into too long of a glazed session, so I'm just gonna force myself to move on to Daniel Dubois. Big ups to Daniel Dubois, right? Truthfully, despite my confidence in Usyk, the form Dubois has been in and the run that he has been on did have me second guessing the results of this fight and how it would look like, right? This man is a scary man to fight. He is big and strong and heavy-handed, and the pressure he applies is something serious, right? And he covers so much of that ring. Like, he was able to cut Usyk off a good few times in this fight within 5 rounds. Like, that's impressive, right? In this fight, I saw him try. I saw him go for it, but he just got bested. You know, the damage he was taking from the very start was substantial. So I don't know if there's going to be talks of him quitting, but I really don't think so. What I saw was a defeated man, someone who followed his corner's orders, but just got bested by the better man, by the greatest of this era. You know, no shame in losing to someone like Usyk, like what Don Charles said. I hope Dubois dusts himself off again and goes on another crazy run. He's a fan-friendly fighter, and I think he's good for the sport. He's hilarious as well. In terms of what I think he could have done a little bit better, or what he could have thrown, in my opinion, the uppercut was there for him, man. I saw him throw it in the first round, and I was like worried, because though he didn't land it, I know Usyk is susceptible to the uppercut, man. He often dips down to his left, I believe, when he's in the offense. And Dubois, being the orthodox fighter, that rear uppercut, if he just threw it more, it could be devastating. You know, if it lands, if it hits the mark, that could be devastating for Usyk. But I only really saw him throw it twice in this fight. I think the first time was in the first round, and the second time was in the 4th or the 5th. And each time he threw it, I was a little bit worried. But other than that, I don't think he had anything else in his locker that could really trouble Usyk. I mean, he tried going jab for jab with Usyk. Obviously, that's not going to work. He tried applying that heavy pressure that I was talking about. You know, he did corner Usyk a couple times in this fight, but he just lost every exchange. You know, Usyk's hand and feet are just so much faster than Dubois. Usyk would throw a combination or a little bit of a flurry, and then he would circle out. Or Usyk would simply just sit back and wait for Dubois' hook or something, and he would just duck under it and circle out away from danger. You know, Usyk was just better, is better, will always be better, and that's okay. Like I said, you know, that's Usyk that we're talking about, so no shame in losing to someone like that. Very quickly, let me just circle back to Usyk, because I really don't care what anybody is saying. Usyk is the king of the world, and he's the #1 pound for pound, and he is the greatest of this era. You know, after he beat Tyson Fury for the first time, I'm on record for saying that he has completed boxing. You know, he's a gold medalist, a 3-time undisputed champion now in 2 divisions. He's undefeated and unblemished. The only real controversy he's had in his career was the low blow in the first fight with Dubois, you know, as we all know. And he put all that to bed with his performance today. This man, Usyk, is simply the best. Beating younger, bigger men and beating them on the road, in their backyard, in their country, right? He's done it over and over again. He has beaten everybody worth beating. He truly is, to me, Alexander the Great, the world conqueror. All right, so that's where I'm going to wrap it up. That's all I got to say. What did you think of the fight? What do you think Usyk should do next? Should he fight? Should he retire? Me personally, I've been saying this. I think he should hang up his gloves and call it a career. He's done everything there is to do in boxing, and he has beaten everyone he needed to beat, like I said earlier. In my opinion, as a fan, you know, he should really consider retirement, because in the first couple rounds, he was noticeably slower. You know, I feel that he did lose half a step. You know, his feet isn't as quick as they once were, and he's not getting any younger. You know, I don't think anybody in the division right now can beat him, but anything can happen. So leave your thoughts in the comments below. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I really want to thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a lovely day. Oh, and real quick, isn't it ironic how Usyk knocked Dubois out in the 5th round, right? The same round where the controversy happened in the first fights. You know, to me, just a little funny and a little bit of a karma for Don Charles running and shooting his mouth off about Usyk being a liar and accusing him of cheating and lying and all that bullshit in one of the press conferences. You know, just ironic.